What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, and today I am very happy because Nintendo just randomly dropped a giant demo for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and it is just so freaking delicious. Now this demo is of course completely free, but additionally what I absolutely love about it is that this is just the opening chapter of the game. It allows you to experience a couple missions, play as multiple characters, check out the crafting system, and all of your progress is going to carry over to the main game. So if you're curious about this game at all, definitely install this. But today what I wanted to do is just give some rough impressions on it. I've spent about an hour with it so far, and I've experimented with the combo system, some of the different crafts, and kind of seen what this game is all about. And I will say that I 99% love it. This is a very, very good demo. I'm glad by the size of it, but there is still some stuff in here that I think people are not going to love. Now, just for a tiny bit of background, I have played literally every single Dynasty Warriors game. I am a big fan of Musus, which is this genre. I know what I'm getting into, but I feel like a lot of Zelda fans might not be experienced with this. So if you've never tried it, basically the catchphrase of this genre of game is 1 versus 1,000. The idea behind it is that we're playing as a magical super soldier who can take on legions and armies completely single-handedly. And instead of having like a dedicated objective in front of you, a lot of times you're running around in a giant field trying to fight off different sections of a huge army of war going on all at once. It's a little bit overwhelming, but with some practice, you really grow to appreciate this style of gameplay. Now, this game has been a little bit mysterious ever since it was initially revealed because it's difficult to see what exactly it was going to be, but this is a full-blown prequel that takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild and seems to be setting up a lot of stuff for what is going to be Breath of the Wild 2. And I have to say, I'm already really digging the new lore. Now, I don't want to show you too many cutscenes and stuff because honestly Nintendo gets mad if I show a bunch of cutscenes and videos, but the basic idea is that the opening cutscene shows the fact that Calamity has already come. The world is already being destroyed, everything is already screwed, Calamity Ganon has won, but this little like egg robot guardian manages to create a portal to the past and come to this current timeline. So this is a little bit weird that we're getting like a time travel flashback-esque entire game, but I'm definitely down for it. Now it comes to this kingdom to try and save Princess Zelda because they know that she is the key to making sure that the entire timeline exists. If Zelda lives, then of course Link will rise and Ganon will be defeated. It's everything that already happened in Breath of the Wild. But now that we're playing it, I am super just down for the fact that this game is so finely crafted when it comes to the combat. Now, when you're running around in missions, it can be a little bit just daunting because there are just fields and fields of moblins all over the place. Flying wizards and sometimes even just giant great beasts blocking your path. But it never feels that bad once you get practiced at it. Now, this doesn't quite play like Breath of the Wild itself. If you're just expecting like a one-to-one, it's not. This is much more of a really kind of flashy hack and slash. You have a strong attack, a weak attack, and a magic attack as your primary buttons. But where things really get way more diverse is each of the multiple playable characters has their own specialities that are 100% different. And already I can see a lot of people are going to be putting hundreds of hours into this game trying to level up and figure out every single one of the characters we can do. Now in this demo we had 3 separate characters that we could play as. There's Impa, who is a young ninja who can make shadow clones of herself that'll do strikes that are literally faster than the eye can see. We also have a very young version of Link. He is now a knight, so he's in his giant suit of armor. And let me just say, this Link feels different. He feels stronger in a way. And that's definitely saying something because this is a Link that in the later games completely saves the world. But I still think that this Link feels the most mighty when it comes to raw strength. His abilities revolve around, of course, giant sword combos and being able to just duck and dodge and dash and parry people, but additionally, he has a bow and arrow, and using the Sheikah Slate, he could do the special abilities we're already used to, like freezing a particular target in time and smashing them or throwing bombs and stuff. But perhaps the most intriguing to me was the Legend of Zelda herself, Zelda herself. I don't know why I put Legend of. Now, Zelda is very, very magic focused. strongest. Now, of course, she also has the Sheikah Slate because each of the characters do, but for her, it almost works like a wand. Because she is already a magical scholar, she's somebody who understands the universe and the flow of this land. Her abilities are basically revolving around the idea of creating magic and then detonating it. So, like, you can either stop somebody in time with ice and then explode it into shards, or do something like just roll a humongous bowling ball bomb and then nuke it in the middle of a group. Her combos, it really feels reminiscent in my mind of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I mean that in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, when you're playing it, it's about crafting your own combos. There are like different things that people do that they can practice, but with her, it really felt like I could craft my own style of gameplay with it. Now, what are you going to be doing? Okay, so now we've seen some fights, we've seen some combat, we've seen some little mini bosses floating around. What do you do? Well, each Musou game is basically just about you're dropped into a huge area and you have to try and go around, and typically the objective is to try and save a series of checkpoints by trying to go up and defeat a bunch of moblin bosses. You can like clear out a fort or open up some treasure chests, or sometimes just detonate a particular area and like cause a landslide. The idea behind these is that instead of just being you as a singular hero, the idea is much more about let's win the war. Let's defeat the battle to win the war. And I think that this works well in a strange way with the Zelda universe because there are a lot of major battles that we just don't quite see. Within the history books of Hyrule, there are a lot of references to great battles, but really getting a chance to be here and see them for yourself is a totally different experience. Now, each of the missions so far has been about 20 minutes. In the original Hyrule Warriors game, it seemed like some of those missions could become like 30 or 50 minutes long, so it seems like these early missions are of course shorter because they are a lot easier. Now, I do want to get to one of my gripes. I still think that some of these objectives are just not fun. Like, there was a time when I had to do like an escort quest where I'm running from a giant guardian and I have to try and keep Zelda herself safe. At this point, she was not playable. In the middle of a mission, you can typically switch between each of the playable characters, but for this part, I was just having to run in a straight path and wait for her to very slowly walk along. I kind of hate that the objectives in this game are still very much like breadcrumbs of storytelling. They just slowly drip feed you the information and the objectives until eventually you get another giant cutscene. I wish that we had a little bit more control or a little bit more freedom. Because the combat at times can feel sort of rigid and the controls can feel sort of rigid, times like this when you're stuck in a tiny little area or with a singular thing in front of you, it can just feel a little bit stale compared to the absolute freedom we got in Breath of the Wild. This is a tiny gripe though, and I'm curious to see even more about it. I'm curious to see the later missions, the later objectives, and the bigger battles that are surely going to ensue. Something in this that definitely kind of impressed me the most as a change, because I have played Dynasty Warriors again recently. Those games, definitely the most unforgiving part is if you screwed up and if you died, it would put you all the way back at the beginning. So that sometimes meant repeating an entire hour of gameplay. It is beyond frustrating. Well, when you die in this, it just makes it where you can restart that exact fight. It basically rewinds that specific objective. That may sound tiny, but in this I was trying to do a bunch of experimenting and testing out different builds and stuff, and I like that I was able to not worry about completely screwing myself out of a bunch of progress. I like that as I'm playing this, I feel safe enough to try and go out there and kill everything, doing giant combos, unleashing huge ultimate attacks, and leveling up my weapons feels nice. And I like that there doesn't feel that rush. You really feel like you get a chance to take this slower and enjoy it in the same pattern that you would have the Breath of the Wild games. So this is cool. I'm definitely happy with it. These are just some off-the-cuff thoughts because I kind of am just blown away by the fact that we got such a giant free demo. Have you gotten a chance to play it for yourself? And if you haven't already, be sure to go watch my Watch Dogs Legion review. That is huge. It's 17 minutes long. It's probably one of my best reviews I've ever written. I'm very happy with it, so go click that. There will be a link at the end of this video. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, here's a little outtake here at the end of the video. This is a completely free demo, and additionally, your progress does carry over. So if you're even tempted to try this game, absolutely, I forgot to just mute my phone. Let me just mute my phone real quick. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.